Greetings, salutations. Happy Friday, June the 12th, 2026. Welcome to Backstage, our behind-the-scenes podcast for the bigger stage, where we talk about what is happening as we grow the company and the enterprise and what I'm learning along the way, and maybe it'll help and inspire you in your own venture. That's the idea anyway. So, when will I settle on a standard intro? I don't know. We're still doing it off the cuff until I settle on something catchy that really captures it. So how did I do there? Let me know. All right. Well, it's Friday again, and keeping up our weekly cadence. It doesn't feel like it's enough, but again, we're just going to keep it up here. So what do we have going on today? June the 12th. Well, let's start with trivia that you didn't know that you couldn't live without, because on this day in 1665, England created a municipal government in New York. What else do we have here? Oh, also on this day, the first man-powered flight across the English Channel was made by Brian Allen in the Gossamer Albatross in 1979. The first man-powered flight. So was he pedaling? I forget how that worked. And I did not realize this, but today was the Tear Down This Wall speech in Berlin by Ronald Reagan in 1987. It was also the day that the Chicago Bulls won their first NBA championship title in 1991. So who knew? June the 12th, a consequential day. And of course, you know, we're cruising into summer here. Let's see, are we officially... I don't know if we're officially in summer. I don't think we've officially started it yet. 9 more days until summer officially starts, at least in this hemisphere. So, but I got to tell you, it feels like summer here. It's like 93 degrees yesterday and today. And at least in the New York City, northern New Jersey area, very humid, very sticky, very, just, it feels like I kept calling it our personal steam room yesterday, which is what it feels like. So, but it is also kind of nice at some level. It's definitely warming up, and then I think we're going to have a bunch of rain and upper 70s and 80s for another week or so. So we'll see what happens. But 9 more days until summer officially starts. Feels like we're already there. So what is going on? Well, a lot's going on. And by the way, before we close today, I'm going to read you another chapter from the Sacrifice Paradox. So stick around for that in just a few minutes. I'm going to read an inspiring chapter. If you're an entrepreneur, a business builder, or just a visionary of any sort, building anything, maybe it's a side thing you're building, I think it'll be inspiring in terms of recognizing that building something requires loss. And when we can accept that, things tend to go, well, I don't know if they go better, but at least you know that that's what's coming. So I'm going to read that in just a minute. But making lots of progress on numerous fronts. The Untold Stories Tour. So I am going to start in the city of Denver, or in that region, going as my first stop. Offering storytelling services. It's really narrative building story services for businesses and founders in particular. And I've got some pieces that have fallen into place. So I've got a venue that I think is going to work great. It's like a golf-themed co-working space. So one of my clients knows the owner and hooked me up with her, and I had a great meeting. Just really good people, beautiful space. I mean, they're building it. It looks like a studio already, and reasonable prices. And so, looking forward to going and seeing that space and using it as a backdrop for recording some interviews with founders. And one of the reasons why my confidence is growing in this area is I had yet another new client just this last week where we went over my conversation with her. It was the first one, and I had done a pretty deep dive analysis on the hour and 15 minutes that we spent in the interview, and it really revealed some signature stories, narrative, and messaging that is sitting right there that she knows is there, but it's amazing how being interviewed just brings that out in a new way, and then you can analyze the transcript. So I'm seeing the ability to repurpose just an interview. If it's done well, it's not just an interview, it's a whole lot of a lot. So I'm continuing to see fruits from that. And I'll tell you what, if you want to get something out, I think this is why coaching has become so popular over the years, because when someone who's present is questioning you, you just really tap into a different reserve, and things come out that even surprise you, but it's all there. It's all there. Your brand strategy, your pillars, your positioning, your messaging, your brand promise, all of those things, they're already inside of you. It's really just someone pulling it out of you. And I'm having a good time doing that. So, I've got all the pieces. I need to put together kind of a sample packet so someone can visualize what they're going to get, but it's such a high value package. So hopefully in the next, I'd say in the next month and a half to 2.5 months max, we'll have gone to Denver and done our first round with multiple clients there. So I'm really excited about that. Also, I'm joining a group in Manhattan. It's a networking group, but it's better than that. It really is the best run. I'll just keep using the word networking group for lack of a better term. I wish there were a better term, honestly, but it's somewhere between a little family and a networking group. It's somewhere in between there. The person who runs it, her name is Lisa. She's just fantastic. And another friend of mine had brought me into a different iteration of that group on a different day, and I went, and then I presented to the group that I'm joining. And I've been back since, and I've talked with the person who runs it, and I just really considered it deeply. It was not a reflexive move. It was a deep consideration, because I've gone to many different groups and just kind of fizzled out on them. And I want to make sure that this one was one that I was willing to really commit to, because I see the mutual benefit, and I do. I'm so excited about this group. So they have a chapter in Miami as well. I'd love to visit there. They have an online chapter, and then two in-person groups here in Manhattan, and it's just full of characters. Real characters. So, and if you've ever been in networking groups in Manhattan, it's a lot of real estate brokers and financial planners and lawyers and things like that, as you would imagine, a lot of professional services. And we have those people, but people have great, just amazing personalities. And because it's Manhattan, also crazy backgrounds, which I really, really like. And as a having a completely nonlinear career, that really helps me. So one of the great insights that I'm getting as I'm building this vision for building actual stages for people to go on and then helping them get there, there's a couple things. One is I'm driven by a passion to not have Google, Facebook, and by Google, I mean YouTube, but having only the most giant companies control our ability to have a digital stage. And then also making it possible for big stages to happen that are literal stages that are not controlled by the hiring person at a large Fortune 500 company. Now, there's nothing wrong. I'm not criticizing large companies. There's plenty to criticize of all different types of companies and individuals. But I want to create new channels for people to get through and new stages for them to step on. And that's really what the bigger stage is about. It's about building a bigger stage for you to have a bigger impact and get your message out. And what I'm finding out there's people who have untold, or I should say undersold stories. Some of it is untold. And, maybe they're telling the story, but they don't have a stage to step on, or they don't know how to get there. Making the leap to being a paid speaker and, having an agency represent you, and that whole game is just too big of a leap. I want to have something in between. So that's been really, really exciting. And if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I want to have opportunities to speak, stay connected with me. Send me a message. Let me know if you know someone who wants to be more out there with their message to build their business, their brand, their whatever they're building. Again, have them come into the universe, because that's what this is all about. And the other piece of that is, in order to make that happen, it's about partnerships. I'm going to a fantastic kind of cocktail hour later this afternoon in Manhattan with some entrepreneurs. But I have in my existing network people who do all kinds of different specialties that are related. Like if it's a Venn diagram, there's overlap in what I'm offering, what they're offering, but they have a certain specialty that I don't have. And I don't want to be greedy with this. I want to be expansive. I want to have a lot of people who are there. And when you need a specialist, whether it's a voice coach or, stage presence coach, someone like that, man, I got amazing people in my network that I work with. And I really envision these massive events where all of those people are part of it. And we've got hundreds of people, maybe thousands in the audience. We're putting it online as well. And we've got people jumping on stages and doing all kinds of different creative expressions of their narrative that are more fun, more engaging, less boring, not another PowerPoint presentation, that invite people in. If you're running a scientific-based company, a science-based company, biotech company, there's a human story in that biotech that everybody, no matter where they are or their age or education level, should have some connection with. And there's got to be a way to connect the complicated scientific stuff or engineering principles to a regular human story. And so that's really what's powering me, driving me, is the human story behind everything. So it's just becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. I had a partner this week. We're doing a really cool dinner concept around storytelling around the dinner table in a couple of weeks. And we're designing this. We're doing the pilot dinner. And she said, are we doing the same thing, in our businesses? And I had to think for a minute, because I thought, well, maybe we are. I thought, no, we're helping. There's an overlap, but there is a distinct lane for each of us, and the pie is definitely big enough. So just having that conversation was extremely useful. So here's a little tip for today. If you're feeling like, gosh, maybe I'm not different, maybe I'm doing the same thing as my friend over here that's got another consulting business or whatever, have a chat with them. Ask them, are we doing the same thing? And just use each other to have this conversation to really get out where your lanes are, where your differentiation is, because you may have 50% non-differentiated, but that piece that is differentiated, what an amazing conversation to have. And I think it opens up the collaboration lane when you get to how you're different, how you're specialized. A really great way to do that. And that leads me to really the broader theme, which is just being very intentional. I have a client whose top value is intentionality, and she is very intentional, very thoughtful, and I thought about that, and I thought, yeah, that resonates with me. Part of the hardest part of building anything new is losing the thread, is forgetting what you're doing and kind of chasing bright, shiny objects, because you got to be creative and you got to find different things to do. And I'll try this, I'll try that. But finding the balance between trying new things but staying on point, being very intentional, is not easy. It's exhausting, and it's always worth reconsidering on a weekly or maybe daily basis. Is what I'm doing in alignment with my intention, and that includes who I meet with and how I spend my time. And for me, it's, building in time to rest my mind, because my mind, if it's going too long, doesn't get clearer. I don't know. How about you? If my mind is going too long, it doesn't make it clearer. It's when I go to the gym. It's when I take a rest. It's when I start cooking something and let some space in, and then the diamond falls out of the sky and lands on my plate. And I go, oh, that's it. That's the truth. All right. So listen, that's what's going on. A bit rambling, a bit all over the place, but there is a thread through all of it. Intentionality, connection, creativity. Yeah. So here's what I want to do. I want to finish this episode reading to you from my friend David Kalinowski's book, The Sacrifice Paradox. He was on the Bigger Stage podcast. By the way, we have a new episode of The Bigger Stage coming out tomorrow. Ricky Michel Presbot. He is an amazing Dominican entrepreneur in the States now. He's building an incredible business, helping finance gig workers who need, it's more, he says, more than a cash advance. It's like a cash advance concept, but a lot more. He wants to grow with the gig worker businesses. So, he's not out to screw people over. I mean, he's just got all the right values, but he's an amazingly inspiring person. And that episode's going to drop tomorrow morning, Saturday morning in the U.S., probably 9 a.m. Eastern. But do check it out. Share it with a friend. In fact, that guest texted me this morning and said his friend in Spain is a huge fan of the show, and I guess he's helping him with something, and independent of that, he found out that his friend knew about the show and liked it already. So, audiences are bigger than you think they are. You cannot just rely on how many subscribers you have or whatever. People are paying attention, and just keep going. All right, listen, let me get back to the point here. I want to finish with The Sacrifice Paradox today. David Kalinowski, How to Navigate Life's Choices and Trade-Offs. So today, story 78 from his book, The Entrepreneur's Loss, okay? So this is very short, but I think this will help you. If you're struggling building something and you're feeling like you're in the darkness right now, listen to this. Jackson wasn't reckless. He didn't gamble. He ran projections, built models, met with mentors. But when it came time to fund his startup, a platform he believed could disrupt an outdated industry, traditional investors didn't bite. So he bet on himself. He sold his house, the home where he'd raised his kids, the place that held a decade of memories. He moved into a rental on the edge of town and put every dollar into the business. At first, things looked promising. Momentum, buzz, clients. But then a major contract fell through. A key developer quit. The market shifted, and just like that, the dream unraveled. The trade-off was painful and permanent. He gave up financial stability, comfort, and the life he'd carefully built. The benefit didn't show up right away, but over time, the failure became fuel. He learned about grit, blind spots, resilience, and how to build smarter next time. The consequence was heavy. His credit took a hit. His pride took a bigger one. And even when his next venture succeeded, the echo of that first loss stayed with him. He wouldn't take it back because failure didn't break him. It broke open what he needed to grow. The reflection question: what would you risk, truly risk, to build something you believe in? And that's the question. What are you willing to risk to build something you believe in? That resonates with me so much because I've had multiple choices to make. Going back into the practice of law, rejoining a corporation in business development, maybe doing business development and law, which I've done before as well, working for a company, or forego all of the safety, security, and known things of that and build something truly inspiring to me that is a reflection of my values and that helps a whole lot of people in a unique way. That's what the Bigger Stage is about. And look, if you find yourself questioning your choices because you're in pain over those choices and it isn't going as well as you wanted, whether that enterprise actually succeeds or you use that quote unquote failure to propel yourself to the next one that does succeed, it is valuable and it's important to remember. So I hope that is inspiring to you in whatever you are trying to do. All right, that's it for Backstage today. I know there's no consistent format. I know. But for now, that's what it is. It's Backstage, and we just come with whatever we got. So a few random thoughts, something inspiring. I hope you're doing well wherever you may be. Drop me a note, especially on Substack. I do see those. And let me know how you're doing. What is inspiring to you? What are you building? Also, recommend this and the bigger stage to a friend who's building something. Let's build a giant network of visionary entrepreneurs and start sharing what we've got with each other. I think that would be a really, really great. Let's bring them to the stage and let's build a community right around the stage. All right? Enough with the metaphors. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for listening. We're going to check back again with you next Friday. But in the meantime, of course, be good to yourself and others. And we will catch you next time. Bye-bye for now.